Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff Rubin. I'm the Vice President of the Pinole Historical Society, and welcome to the 4th Annual Veterans Day Memorial and Flag Retirement Ceremony. Thank you all for coming out on such an inclement day, although it appears the sun is shining now, so that's good news. We gather on November 11th at 11 o'clock every year because on November 11th, 1918, the armistice that ended World War I was signed. We live in interesting times. I'm sure you've seen on the television about Occupy Wall Street and Occupy Oakland, and even today there's an Occupy Richmond event. I'm waiting for somebody to occupy Pinole, but we'll see. Maybe that'll happen. But it's a great country that we live in that people can demonstrate this way. We see on the news war veterans returning home from Iraq, and that's a great thing. And we hope that all of them come home safely because they won't all be home until the end of December. Please welcome the Pinole Valley High School Marching Band. Please rise as they play the Star-Spangled Banner. Please remain standing and welcome the West Contra Costa Girl Scouts who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you, girls. This is a very special year for the Pinole Historical Society in hosting this event because I'm sure everybody is aware of the financial difficulty that the city of Pinole is in, and virtually a lot of other cities in the United States. In order to televise this event this year, the society had to raise $2,000 to cover the costs because today is a holiday and the budget's been really cut back, and all of the organizations have to be full recovery, which means if we have a program, we need to pay for it. So I want to acknowledge these 8 sponsors who each paid $250 so that we not only could televise this event, but archive it forever, because it will be on the city's website and it will be shown on the city's community TV station. Crockett's Premier Auto Body, Mechanics Bank, Netto's Pizza, Pinole Chamber of Commerce, Pinole Rotary, Rolling Hills Memorial Park, Tina's Place, and Wilson and Kratzer Mortuaries. Please support these businesses and organizations because when we need them, they are here to support us. So is the mayor here? Who will speak for the city of Pinole? Debbie? Councilwoman Debbie Long.
Good morning. I didn't come prepared something at the last minute, and you can bet it was extremely important that our mayor wasn't here. I can assure you he's not at an Occupy area right now. I will just keep this very short and honor you by doing so. There's one thing that we have to remember is while history is forever, if we don't pass it on, people forget. And each and every one of you have a responsibility to pass on the history, the intimate knowledge that you have regarding the past and how you've been a part of it. I have to say one of my regrets is that my father didn't speak enough about his experiences as a World War II vet. And it's only going through his papers that I realized the importance that was attached to that. And I wish I had the time to really ask the questions. So make the time. Don't assume someone will ask the questions. Be sure that you pass it on. That's the most important thing that you can do at this moment in time. So I want to honor each and every one of you here today. And I think you know how I feel about our Veterans Memorial Day. You are most important today. And if it weren't for you, those people occupying would not have the privilege to do so. You have fought hard for all of us, regardless of our backgrounds or our political beliefs, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. This encumbers the spirit of Pinole. As many of you remember, we had a Community Preservation Day that we all went out and painted and worked, and it was pouring down Pinole, and we had a turnout like today. So each and every one of you have the spirit of Pinole, you have the spirit of your history, and we certainly have the privilege of being in the presence of our veterans here today as well. Thank you very much.
My name is Destiny Interiano, and we're with the Pinole Youth Commission.
I'm Nina. I'm Araya Turner.
We will be saying The Bravest Man I Know by Amanda Whitney. The bravest man I know is a man I've never met. He's a man who risks his life to save a friend, not only a friend, but to save a nation. Risking his life for those he does not know, stepping up, leaving loved ones behind, so that somewhere someone else won't have to.
He is a man who follows orders, even though he knows he might die. The bravest man I know is a man who would rather die, so one more person could go home to see his family again. The man who stares death in the face but does not blink.
The bravest man I know is the man that risks his life. So one day the world may be a better place for his children, or any man that goes against his biggest fear, death, just to save someone he loves. The bravest man I know is the man who fights, so another man could have a sweet taste of freedom. So not fighting for only his benefit, but for many others all over the world, fighting to make this world a better place. That's the bravest man I know.
My name is Chloe DeChoso, and I'm from St. Joseph's School in Pinole, and this is my brother Harold. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside let freedom ring. My native country, the land of the noble free, thy name I love. I love thy rocks and rills, thy woods and templed hills. My heart with rapture thrills like that above. Let music swell the breeze and ring from all the trees sweet freedom song. Let mortal tongues awake, let all that breathe partake, let rocks their silence break, the sound prolong.
Your Honor, Council Member Debbie Long, Jeff Rubens, Vice President, Pinole Historical Society, and my fellow Americans. I am Carl Petersdorf, the commander of Jesse Orchard Post 2798 of the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States of America here in Pinole. Our VSW Post members are pleased to join with the City of Pinole, the Pinole Historical Society, and other participating units in the 4th Annual Veterans Day Memorial and flag retirement ceremony of our history's flag, the emblem of freedom and the symbol of unity. We are gathered here on Veterans Day to pay tribute to and honor all veterans who served and are serving us today. This day is our opportunity to publicly commemorate and express our gratitude for the contributions and sacrifices made by so many. The Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States is composed of veterans who served honorably in the U.S. military in a foreign war or operation overseas. The VFW is dedicated to help veterans and their families defend our Constitution, promoting patriotism, uplifting communities, and supporting our troops. In today's fast-paced world, there has never been a more important celebrate and preserve the patriotic American values we hold dear. The values our country is built upon. We strive to promote Americanism and honor the men and women whose sacrifices make our American way of life possible, and to protect our legacy of freedom earned by generations of brave Americans. American has a song, one of the truly great songs of all time, and this is our own Star-Spangled Banner. Only rarely do we sing the last verse, but in deepest reverence, let us look to the great religious height to which it reaches. Oh, thus be it ever when free men shall stand between their loved homes and grim war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must when our cause it is just. And this be our motto, in God is our trust. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. My friends, it is a great privilege as well as a responsibility to be an American. Freedom is not free. We have inherited a mighty nation. It did not come into being by chance, but was built by courage, wisdom, and vision of our hard-working forefathers. We owe it to them to pass this nation on to our children as stable and as solvent as we received it. Let us ever keep our eyes upon our flag and our minds upon the principles for which it stands, so that the rights and liberties of all will be preserved. In closing, don't just celebrate Veterans Day because it happens to be Veterans Day, but to me, Veterans Day is every day. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is George Vincent. I'm the former president of the Pinole Historical Society. This is my wife, Christy. It was refreshing to hear the young lady from St. Joseph's Church sing a patriotic song. I know in our schools today, when I grew up and went to school, we learned patriotic songs. Not so much today. Again, something that should be in the curriculum, just as important as reading and mathematics. Pinole has historically always been a city that supported its veterans. In World War I, many young men were drafted from Pinole and Hercules. Many of them, the young men, worked at the Hercules Powder Company. They were replaced by young women. My mother was one of them who loaded the shells. Very dangerous job, putting powder in artillery shells. Very few people know that the Hercules Powder Company was instrumental in winning World War I. Almost all of the munitions supplied overseas were supplied by the Hercules Powder Company and the brave men and women who worked there. I remember some of the older men when I was growing up who had served in World War I, and my father said he was scarred by mustard gas in the trenches in France. Those two fellows have shell shock. Today it's known as post-traumatic stress. But there were many brave young men from Pinole who fought in World War I. When they came back, they were honored. Next to the antlers stood the Pinole Opera House. It burned in 1931, but the city of Pinole turned out there for its honored veterans at that time. So Pinole has always honored its veterans. We're going to ring the bell here today in memory of those who have fallen, many who are unnamed or unknown, who lived in Pinole and Hercules at that time and who gave their all for their country. A generation later, their children were in World War II. Pinole at that time had less than 1,000 people, but for a city as small as Pinole, 6 of its young men gave their lives, which was a very large number for a town as small as Pinole. I'm going to read their names in a moment. I just want to refer my wife, Christy, her father was in the United States Air Force. He flew a B-16 bomber many times over Germany and risked his life. He passed away last year. Each day, over 200 veterans of World War II pass on. So we're deeply honored for those of you who are here, who served in that war. I would like to honor especially this gentleman, Wesley Owens. He died last year, Pinole's oldest resident. He was 93. He was a proud veteran of the Marine Corps. He served in the South Pacific in World War II. He lost most of his hearing from shelling on the battles of Guadalcanal where he served. But he was proud to be a Marine. And I know he's here with us today because he always loved the veteran ceremony. And he was always proud to be a Marine. And I want to honor him today, along with the others who gave their lives. And I'll read them in order. Jack Edwards. Gordon Hughes. Bernardo Fernandez. Michael Vassell. Edward Hall, and James Wynn. Over 2.5 million men and women served in the Vietnam War from 1965 to approximately 1975. 58,000 soldiers lost their lives in that war. Pinole contributed its servicemen to that list of honored dead. His name is Ralph McGinn Stacy, Jr. and we honor him. The Iraq War also took one of our citizens, a young man, a private in the United States Army. His name was Sean Anthony Silva. He was born on April 8, 1980. He died on October 9th, 2003, defending his country, and we honor his memory. And we honor all those who are serving currently in Iraq and Afghanistan and Korea and all the faraway places far from our shores, but defending our shores with their lives and their honor. And we honor today all of our veterans who are here, and we thank you for your service. And may God bless all of you, and may God bless America. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Latresa Alford, and I'm here representing Congressman George Miller. Personally, I'm very proud to be here today. My dad was a Korean War vet. He was in Lachlan, and until his death 5 years ago, he was the sole caretaker for my youngest brother, who also is a veteran. My brother can't walk, he can't feed himself, but we're very proud that he's alive, and we honor him for his service. He's the youngest person at the VA nursing home in San Francisco, and they actually changed the name from a nursing home because of his age, and they call it a care home. But I'm here representing Congressman Miller, and his letter reads as follows. Dear friends, today as we gather on the 11th hour of the 11th day in the year of 2011 to mark once again the anniversary of the end of World War I, it is fitting that we join together to honor the millions of courageous men and women who have joined together to honor who have served proudly in the United States Armed Forces. Our men and women in uniform have served our nation with courage and valor throughout our nation's history. They have, and their families have endured mighty sacrifices to protect our values and freedoms. Our veterans truly deserve our sincere appreciation and respect every day of every year. Our message to each one of the millions of veterans who have served must be clear. It is our duty to support you with health care, housing, and new opportunities through education and jobs. Particularly during these difficult economic times, we cannot allow those who have done so much for us to be forgotten. From the moment you raised your right hand and took an oath to protect and defend our nation, America affirmed a commitment to you that is everlasting. There truly is no single honor, tribute, or set of words that can adequately convey the debt we owe. But as a grateful nation, we stand with you and your families and thank you for everything that you have done for us. You can rest assured knowing that America is indeed grateful and honored to call you its sons and daughters. Sincerely, George Miller, Member of Congress, 7th District. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. Wasn't that late. I was outside talking to the high school band, since that's one of my soft spots. Spent my high school and college career basically in the band, so it was a lot of fun talking to those people. Good morning, and thank you all for attending today. And I've heard some good speeches prior to me getting up here, and now you got to listen to mine, but I'm real brief, so I'm not going to take a lot of time. I'd like to, again, if they haven't been thanked already, the committee, Jeff Rubin and the committee that puts together each year this honor and this Veterans Program for us all, and it's a great way to celebrate a very, very important day in history. In 1919, President Woodrow Wilson, whom proclaimed Armistice Day, to us in America, that reflects, the reflection of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride and heroism of those who have served the country's service, and with the gratitude for the victory, both because of the opportunity has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of the nations. That was a speech by Woodrow Wilson in 1919. Again, thank you for the great sacrifices you've made each year, or in all these years, to our country. The reason we enjoy all the wonderful things we have is because you were the front guard. You were the person who was out in front protecting us and protecting our freedom for the last 250 years. It's easy to take liberty for granted if you have never had it taken from you. The pride of liberty is internal vigilance, a quote by Thomas Jefferson. When countries are in conflicts, we find the soldier's part is to clean up all the mess that we politicians have made and started. And being one, I can tell you that we can create a mess if we want to. We have been obliged to arm ourselves from time to time over the past 250 years to preserve our claim in freedom. The price of freedom has been high and paid for with the lives of U.S. soldiers in all branches of the military. You are the best of the best, and you went out and did the worst of the worst jobs protecting us and keeping us from harm's way. The nation will remain the land of the free as long as it is the home of the brave. In closing, by Oliver Wendell Holmes, Lord, bid war's trumpets cease, fold the whole earth in peace. Thank you very much.
Good morning, all, and welcome back to the program. I'm Jack Meehan. I was asked to deliver a few remarks, and I never deliver only a few. So here they come. First, let me tell you that I am a veteran of the Armed Forces, the Navy, where they taught me to shoot and shoot very well. I'm also a veteran of the Boy Scouts, and having attained the highest personal honor of Scoutmaster of Troop 86, which is the troop that's out here doing the honors, burning the flags. But that was a number of years ago. I learned a lot from the Navy, and I learned even more from Boy Scouts. And one of them was when you visit one of nature's pristine wildernesses, you pack out what you pack in, and you leave nothing but footprints. And that's always been a very basic and very treasured rule. Now my prepared remarks, it's about the chemistry and the claims and the challenges, changing our flag's colors from red, white, and blue to green. And I think I got your attention. Let's start with staking a claim with the flags. When Americans in expeditions and in combat seize ground, they usually are ready to plant the American flag as a sign of conquest, possession, success, control, pride, aid, ownership, patriotism, and responsibility. Examples we know, we can cite, they're vivid. Mount Suribachi on Iwo Jima, now memorialized in Washington on a monument there. They charge up San Juan Hill with Teddy Roosevelt. Bunker Hill, I'm not sure whether we planted the flag there or the Americans did. In Richmond, Virginia. You know why Richmond, Virginia? Of course. That's where Robert E. Lee surrendered in the Civil War. And there are many other examples. Baghdad, more recently. 150 or more embassies around the world. And on the moon. Does that make it American? July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 brought the lunar module Eagle to that desolate place. A few years later, Apollo 17 brought the lunar module Challenger. And an all-terrain vehicle, the lunar rover. Several flags were planted each time. This time, most were returned to Earth as souvenirs. But at least one was left near the liftoff site in an oxygen-free atmosphere, actually no atmosphere on the moon. The propellant was a concoction of aerosine and nitrogen tetroxide. Little footnote here, I happen to be a chemist. But where was that stuff made? Take a good guess, and if you say more than a mile away from where you are right now, you would be wrong. That's the stuff that was made in Hercules. Here comes the chemistry. In the blast-off, like the blowtorch, the last flag, which has never been accounted for, was torched. And made of nylon, just like the ones that we have in the back of the room. The Historical Society makes these available for donation. Very same kind, same size, nylon, all weather, stitched, embroidered. But the propellant left a cloud of nitrogen oxides, what we call NOx. If you don't know what that is, that's on your smog test when you take your car in to have it tested. It's a yellowish gas. And when the module redocked with the command ship and cargoes were transferred, the Challenger was fired back into the moon to join the now abandoned, rubber-tired, dead battery rover. Students and others of absorbent minds are now being taught a new kind of science and call it political science. Back in my day, that was a valid college major. But this political science declares that plastic is evil and causes us our inevitable demise. The cause is us. To save the planet, that's Earth, we must go green, think green, speak green. Eco-friendly, get these words, eco-friendly, green tech, renewable, biodiversity, environmentally friendly, greenhouse gases, clean tech, alternative, recyclable, sustainable. Well, you get it. How do Apollo and the moon trips sound now? Do we really want to fess up to what we did to it? Well, here's how my late idol, Andy Rooney, might have summed it up. And call on Andy now and pause. You fans of Andy Rooney will know what I'm talking about. Ever wonder why the Apollo astronauts planted flags on the moon? Souvenirs, I suppose. But they left one, forgot it, I guess. They had other things on their minds. After tooling around in their lunar rover collecting rocks, sending videos back to Earth, the Challenger blasted off, leaving a carbon footprint. Noxious fumes like the stuff that comes out of your auto exhaust, called smog. A scorched flagpole, a pile of scrap metal and plastic called Challenger. All that stuff could qualify the moon for a Superfund cleanup project. The flag's gone, but it sure looks like Americans have been there. So tonight at sunset, look to the east and scan the rising moon. If you can make out that reddish yellow NOx cloud and the gray carbon footprint, the junk pile and used car lot, yep, it's all there, all right. Take my word for it. Oh, and lots of footprints, too. Good night, Andy.
So once again, I have the unenviable task of following Jack Meehan. I think next year we'll schedule him toward the beginning of the program. Boy Scout Troop 86 is ready to retire flags. They are in the back, just beyond the patio. It's not raining. You're welcome to go back and stand on the patio. We have some seats set up in the back room with a TV monitor. You can watch the retirement ceremony there. And when the Boy Scouts are done, please come back inside because we have one or two more things to tell you. So thank you, and please go outside for the flag retirement ceremony.
Got him. Got him. No. No.
Stars represent the 50 sovereign states of our union. The American Creed states, "It is my duty to my country to love it, to respect its constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies." The U.S. flag should be treated with respect when it's flying, should be treated with respect when it's being retired. Therefore, we retire our flags with dignity and respect when they become worn, torn, faded, or badly soiled. The The traditional way to retire a flag is to incinerate it, but that doesn't mean we simply drop the entire flag into the fire. Rather, the flag is retired in a manner that is dignified and respectful. Remember, we are retiring a symbol of American honor, courage, and strength. A flag ceases to be a flag when it is cut into pieces. We separate the 13 stripes that represent the original 13 colors, leaving the blue field of 50 stars as one piece, since it represents the union of the 50 states that together make up this great nation. And that union can never be broken.
This flag has served its nation long enough and has worn to a condition to which it cannot be used to represent the nation. This flag represents all of the flags collected and being retired from service. Beyond the bands, as well as this youth land flag. Scout attention, audience attention. Scout salute. Bugler sound off. Retire the colors. Color guard reform. Color guard retreat. Color guard attention. Color guard forward march. Color guard hold. Color guard prepare to present the colors. Present the colors. Bugler sound off. Retire the colors. Color guard reform. Color guard reform. Color guard retreat. guard attention. Color guard forward march. Color guard, hold. Color guard, prepare to present the colors. Present the colors. Scout absolute. Bugler sound off. Retire the colors. Retire the colors. Two. Color guard, retreat. Color guard attention. Color guard forward march. Color guard, halt. Color guard, prepare to present the colors. Present the colors. Scan, hand, salute. Color guard. Retire the colors. Bugler sound off. Two. Color guard form, color guard retreat. Color guard attention. Color guard forward march. Color guard, halt! Color guard, prepare to present the colors. Present the colors. Scout hand salute. Bugler sound off. Retire the colors. Two. Color guard reform. Color guard retreat.
This concludes our flag
This concludes our flag retirement ceremony. Thank you for coming.
So welcome back, and pleased to introduce the St. Joseph School Choir singing Your Grand Old Flag.
Flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true neath the red, white, and blue, where there's never a post or pride. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag. You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true neath the red, white, and blue, where there's never a post or a brag. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag.
Now it's my turn. I'm Marcia Calipus. I am president of the Pinole Historical Society. This is always one of the best days of our society, and I love everything that we do on this day. Honoring the veterans of all of our wars is very important, and we should never, ever forget them. As a genealogist, I lost family in the Civil War, and today in Missouri, family descendants are honoring a lost young man who fought in the Spanish-American War. We have been looking for him for 111 years. We finally found him and his remains in a cemetery in Missouri, and he's being honored with full military honors with a plaque that says Spanish-American War. His name is Alonzo Burton Kittingham. He was my grandfather's brother, and we have searched all these years trying to find what happened to him. So this is a special day for me. War is not easy on any of us. War is tough. And many of you sitting in this room have the same snow on your heads like I do. I don't think I will ever, ever forget World War II. I was a child, and I remember every Sunday from 1941 to 1945, my parents, well, not my parents, my mother and her sisters and my uncle, we were all poor as church mice, but every Sunday after church we found the food, and we fed many a service boy every Sunday. We always had a large garden. We saved our stamps so that we could include them in those meals. Those boys were grateful young men. Many of them never came home. And we warned them just like they were our own children. But they were good to my mother and my aunts. They would bring cigarettes and stockings, silk stockings, and candy for us. But that wasn't the point. The point was that we provided comfort and love to them on that Sunday. So Sundays are special also to me. One of the things that worries me is that our schools today, when they're teaching with history, I don't want the essence of these wars and how they were fought and why they were fought and all of the lives that were given and what we gave up. We must teach our children to honor peace, respect each other. We have to teach them to not bully in schools. Don't quit fighting, quit bullying. Wake up every day and don't take for granted what this country's worth. It's worth so much. And we have to keep it this way into the future. And so I hold every parent, every citizen, every adult, grandparents and otherwise, responsible. You must keep this alive and teach them the respect that all of these men and women over these years and the services have, that they deserve. And most importantly, every day my heart bleeds for all of those 40,000 wounded young men and women from the two most recent wars. It grieves even more for the thousands that we lost. And I grieve even more for those young men and women with the stress syndrome who can't come back and become healthy again. So let's today honor every single one of those people. This is life. Let's treasure it forever. Thank all of you so much for coming, and all of the young people who participated today, the songs, the scouts, the band. Oh my gosh, the band just gets better and better. And all of the folks who had speeches for us today, thank you. And come back next year because we're going to be here again and we're not going to let it rain. Thank you so much for coming.
So before we conclude, once again, I want to thank our sponsors who made this telecast possible: Crockett's Premier Auto Body, Mechanics Bank, Netto's Pizza, Pinole Chamber of Commerce, Pinole Rotary, Rolling Hills Memorial Park, Tina's Place, and Wilson and Kratzer Mortuaries. In the back there, the Pinole Historical Society has a booth with all of our products. We have the books from the entire region. Every book that's been written about West Contra Costa County, we have it. This region has a great history, some of which you learned about today. So we invite you to read all about it. And finally, with the assistance of the Pinole Historical Society and Pinole Patch, the Pinole Library is preparing an exhibit on current servicemen. And I expect it to premiere within the next week. And we will be featuring 4 local servicemen, 3 of whom are still serving. Matt Drosba in the United States Marines, Adam Loomis, the United States Air Force, Drew Gordon, the United States Army, and Dustin Huckabee, who's a veteran of the United States Marines. So please honor them, honor all veterans all the time. Go to the library, read about their experiences, and God bless America. Thank you for coming.